Hey, everybody. It is February 17th, Thursday, actually. We're a little late, but it's time for the Prove It Live podcast. My name is Dr. Kevin McGovern, and we are live today. Well, I guess we're always live, but a couple of housekeeping notes. Please, if you're following us on YouTube, subscribe, press that subscribe button to the channel so that you'll get notifications of every time we post. And you can reach the show at info@proveitlive.com via email. And without further ado, I want to introduce you to my very handsome co-host and the producer extraordinaire,
No,
Mike
that's
Ferry,
my part. That's my
and
part.
Ryan Gagne.
Uh-oh.
At all.
Now you're messing. You're messing with the flow.
Respectively. Well, because he does. He makes it. See the face he makes? He does this.
It's just the grandeur that you guys go through.
I introduced Mike, and then Mike introduced. Well, I complimentary. Just because he doesn't compliment you doesn't. That's not my fault.
Well, that's been part of the intro.
I don't
it's just part. It's kind of like the wrestling Gorgeous George or ravishing Rick Rude. It's handsome Mike.
It's also like what I'm about to say. Welcome to the Prove It Live podcast. I am indeed Mike Ferry from the Farm Baseball Performance Institute, and the redundancy of, along with my co-host, Dr. Kevin McGovern of Perfect Motion Sports Therapy. We don't need to do that, but we do it. We do it in the name of consistency, right? We do it in the name of branding. It's the Prove It Live brand.
If you don't like it, go listen to Joe Rogan.
Some other redundant thing, or not
everyone else seems to. But, okay.
And we are here with our producer at large,
who was not here last week, right? Again,
right.
MIA.
Picks and chooses these days. He's got a very vague background. And you can't see her, but we do have one of our Prove It Live fans live in studio today.
Yes,
in the blur.
Yep.
The
blur. So
Mike, what are we doing today? What do we got?
We're going to answer.
We got fan mail.
We got some fan mail. So we're going to go to the mailbag today. We've got a very detailed, long question. But Kevin, before you get all amped up and put your reading specs on.
I have to put my reading because I can't see.
Oh, by the way, looks like we did lose a fan. We lost one of our fans who was on live with us.
Oh, yeah?
He's no longer. Yeah, so maybe he'll come back.
Billy?
Old Billy.
I still see him on there.
No, he's still on there. Yeah, he's on there.
Why don't I see him? All right, anyway. So Gagne Fructis. We're back to our top of the order. So we haven't done the top of the order a couple weeks because there's really been nothing. Yep, he says I'm here. Okay.
He's here.
Yep. Okay. So we skipped the top of the order a couple weeks because there really wasn't much going on. Other than the Super Bowl we talked about a little bit. So, which I'm sure we'll talk about today. So, Gags, what do we have for the top of the order today?
Yeah, I got a decent amount of stuff to talk about. So, those of you that have been listening, obviously we are a pretty baseball heavy podcast, and in MLB news today, both sides, the players and the owner groups are meeting to discuss economic issues surrounding the current lockout that's still going on. Yesterday would have been the first day that all 30 major league teams would have been fully reported to spring training. So we are now, officially affecting, spring training. Everything's going to be delayed and so on and so forth. I see that our handsome co-host Kevin McGovern is raising his hand.
Well, I think it's more if we instead of players and owners, if we really say millionaires and billionaires, because that's really what we're talking about, right? Like the millionaires and the billionaires met today, right? Well, us poor schleps paying $150, $250, $350 a ticket to go see these guys, or $199. What's the major league?
Well, I think that's really
what's
mostly
the package.
I think
what's
that's
the
only
package cost.
Two things.
It's like $200.
Number one, I'm the handsome co-host. Number one. Number two, I think that's mostly Boston and New York and the big market. Like I'm not sure that it's that much everywhere.
Yeah, I think it's like $30 to see a game in Kansas City. So.
Yeah, right. Which I don't know. Is that?
Yeah, but don't forget they sold for just under $1 billion. That small market team. What 2-3 years ago, right? Well, But you're right.
It's because the profitability, no matter what. I mean, with the merchandising and because you pay. Let's even if the ticket is say $40, right? Mm-hmm. You're gonna pay that equal amount the second you walk in and buy, two beers, one for you and your buddy. Yeah. And God forbid you get a hot dog, you got to refinance, you got to remortgage your home and
but
got a credit app.
when is it enough? Like, I mean, if the season's late, what do you get? I mean, it's already going to be late, right? I mean, they're already supposed to be there. So we're now talking opening day is not going to happen in April or March 31st or whatever.
I don't think they can afford that, man. I really don't. Like, I think they got to figure this out like lickety split, right?
But
well,
so
to that point, like say they do. I mean, this actually kind of flows into, and this was organic. We didn't plan this, but say they do. Say that's a fair point too.
We go with the flow.
Say they come to an agreement, by the end of this week, right? And then they start to report, 7 to 10 days from now, and with the hope of still starting the season on time, right? At that point, you're rushing spring training, you're rushing, the preseason games. What do you think we'll see in an uptick of injuries?
Oh yeah,
Kevin.
Well, yeah, even like we heard last week with our guest that people come to spring training injured. So yeah.
Yeah, but it'd be interesting to see because we'll see. Because people, I'm sure, I mean, professionals, they're out there, they're staying in shape, they're doing their own work.
Sure.
So this would maybe tell us maybe spring training is part of the problem. Maybe it's too much. I mean, 162 regular season games, and then you're gonna play a month and a half of spring training. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, I mean, look, I hope they put this together. I really do. Because I don't think that the sport can afford it. I really don't. And in that same vein, right? And so that's what we're talking about right now. Honestly, I'm going to be completely transparent. I can't with the luck. I don't pay attention too much to it. I really don't. So I'm not going to take a side necessarily here. All I know is that both owners and players do really well. And, this should not be all that hard. I understand that there are concessions that owners need to make. Owners are making gazillions and it is the players on the field who are performing and they are the product. So without them, the owners aren't making that money. So I see both sides clearly. But you look at what was Soto just had that was just reported he turned a deal down, I think, before the lockout. What was it?
Before the lockout, yeah. It was a 13-year offer to keep him in Washington for $350 million, and he turned it down. Guaranteed money. No, thank you. That's not enough.
350.
He's 23 years old, who's not even arbitration eligible for like another 2 or 3 years. So they're basically trying to skip all those years, just lock him up. Now that's it. When he comes out of this, he'll probably get a 13-year offer for 30 to 35 million. Right.
I wonder what you think that's the reason behind that they're going after him before arbitration, just to get him low.
That's not low. That's an insane number.
I get that, but what I'm saying is, but like Brian said, it could be 40. It could be, yeah, it could be 40 million. I mean,
right.
That's a multi-generational wealth.
But you can never,
yeah. Oh God,
he's gambling on himself here too, right? Like say he gets hurt. Say this year he blows out his knee or something, right?
I think we had that problem in Boston. His name was Noma, right? He turned down a huge deal like that, right?
Yeah. So you're taking a pretty big gamble on yourself there to not get hurt over the next 2 or 3 years and be eligible for that big free agent deal.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, that's great. Usually when you see deals turn down like this, it's usually like the length of term. It's a short term deal or whatever. And it's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Yeah. All right, what else we got in sporting news?
Well, one of the other big things to come out of the lockout so far. All right, what?
I guess we weren't moving on.
Right. No, he's got something.
No, we're not moving on.
All right.
Yeah. One of the other big things to come out of the lockout so far is that Rob Manfred has announced that MLB will officially implement the universal DH moving forward. So we will have a DH in both National and American leagues moving forward. So
how do we feel about that?
I'm kind of indifferent to it, to be honest with you. I like seeing some pitchers hit, but I do think that it is stupid to have it, have one league doing one way and then the other league doing another. Either both go DH or both go pitchers, and the way that it's been done for a while, I don't necessarily love. I think it'll certainly affect the free agent, landscape. You get some guys that are still out there unsigned. Kyle Schwarber just coming off of the finishing up this past year in Boston. I mean, really, he only had about a 15-team audience. Now that's just opened up to 30 teams. I mean, there's going to be National League teams are now looking to add a DH, a big bat like him. So
it's going to extend careers too, right? I mean, people
Yeah.
that guys that can still hit but really can't field anymore. Obviously, and that's the whole thing about the DH. It extends careers. I actually, to counterpoint what you said with interleague play, I thought it was pretty cool. You like seeing some American League teams go to National League parks, see pitchers you don't typically see have to hit. And I think that was like the part of the fun for me. That said, I would rather just have DHs. I mean, well, first of all, the double switch is not going to happen anymore, right? So,
Right.
you have to, that's something almost you have to show somebody rather than try to explain to them, right? So that's not going to happen. You're not going to be able to explain that to anyone anymore. And then, so that's a big one. But having that almost automatic out in the lineup, kind of stinks. That said, you did have teams who had pitchers who could hit, and they had a major advantage, right? I mean, the pitchers that could hit was a major advantage, but levels the playing field a little bit. I'm for it overall.
I think you'll start seeing a lot less. I mean, it was already dying anyway, but even less small ball, right? I think 5-10 years from now, there won't be any bunting in baseball. And there's hardly any now, but there's going to be none.
Maybe, but it'll come back. It's like the I formation in football and the fullback. You know what I mean? Like, so once it's no longer a trend, now you can sneak and steal a hit off somebody. It's going to happen. I don't think it's ever going to go away completely. But what say you, Kev? I know you were trying to get in there for a minute.
Oh, so I did the payroll calculator.
Yeah.
So 350 million is about 27 million a year. They get paid over 9 months, so it's $1 million a week. So if Mr. Soto was at Yawkey Way, which isn't called Yawkey Way, it's $1 million a week. The federal withholding is $369,256. Social Security is $9,114. Medicare $21,700, and state tax $49,900. And he would net $549,523.68.
Yeah, so $500,000 a week. Well,
not bad, but
no, not bad.
But half of it went away in taxes.
Yeah,
maybe
right. That's the shocking part.
Maybe that's his holdup. Maybe he's waiting for New Hampshire to,
Oh, then I'm sure the
franchise.
agent gets 10%, right? So he's making less than. I feel bad. He's making less than $500,000 a week. I feel bad for that.
That's tough. Moving on from baseball, a couple other big things going on. Last weekend we had the Super Bowl. End of the NFL season. So we had the Los Angeles Rams beating the Cincinnati Bengals 23-20. Pretty close game. Really good game, I thought, overall. I know Mike has some feelings about the officiating.
Oh, Michael.
You can't do that. You can't call a game.
Michael's very angry.
It's ridiculous. You can't call a game for, whatever it was, 48 minutes more. No. And then all of a sudden just decide that you're going to look at that whole game. There was defensive holds. There was offensive pass. Yes, there was the egregious offensive pass interference on the Cincinnati touchdown. But that just goes to the point that they were letting them play. They weren't calling interference. They weren't calling defensive holding. And now all of a sudden, 3rd and goal, you're going to call that with less than there's like 1 minute and 30 something seconds at the time they did that, somewhere in that range. And it can change the game. I mean, that was the game.
Yeah.
Automatic first down. And by the way, that was regardless of how they were calling the game that night, on any given Sunday, on any given football night, that's probably not a holding. It's close. And I guess worse calls have been made, but that was real pity pat. And then, the second defensive holding, the one in the end zone, that was legit. But I mean, come on. And at that point, they had to call it. But
right,
I thought it was pretty.
See, I'll counter the whole, the let them play thing, which they did for the most part, right? That egregious pass interference, that face mask that wasn't called. I don't think that was just like a let them play. That was just we did not see that. We really, screwed the pooch there. That was something we just missed entirely.
Maybe. But that's speculation. I mean, how do you know that? I mean, because look, when you watch it live, I didn't see it live. I don't think a lot of people.
I saw it. Yeah. I mean, his head jerked back.
So here's the thing: the end zone call with the offsetting penalties, right, where the head heads to the face, right, and then the other one was a hold.
Yeah.
Find it.
Right.
Find it. There was no replay of that hold.
That's right.
Find it. There's no replay anywhere of that hold.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like you saw in the corner of the end zone, but not nowhere did you find the hold at all.
No, and that's the thing that I just have a problem with. It's on the biggest stage, and it just looks bad. Even if it were on the up and up, it really has a bad optic to it. It really does. I mean, and look, I had no dog in the race. You know what I mean? Like I whatever. Like I want Cincinnati win.
But
sure.
it's a Super Bowl, dude. You got to have all the calls right? You got to have the best officials. And should you have more?
Yeah, maybe.
Right.
Should it be played even tighter? Right. Look, they were the two least penalized teams in the NFL this year. Yep. And so they either get away with a lot. I mean, look, I remember the AFC Championship game being a Patriot fan back in 2018, and Kansas City tied the game. They went to overtime. I think it might have been the one that tied it earlier, but a late touchdown that was a clear pick. I mean, right in front of the referee, a Patriot defender gets picked. And it's an easy touchdown. No one's up. Now, usually when you have a guy that wide open kind of the backfield like that, that's what happened. But again, non-call. And at the end of the day, and I hear a lot of people saying, well, the Cincinnati offensive pass interference, like that was a makeup call. Really? That's when you're going to make it up 3rd and goal, right? With the minute, like, come on, please.
Two quarters later.
If you haven't made it up by then, you lost your chance. Like,
right.
Well, I mean, maybe there should be. I mean, I don't know how many where you put more.
I agree with that.
In the secondary, you put 2 guys, or I don't know.
Right.
Or penalties
in baseball. In baseball, during the regular season, there's 4 umpires. In the playoffs, there's 6. You get the guy down the right field and left field line. Same thing. And I don't know for certain. Maybe they do in NFL. I don't pay enough attention.
I don't think they do. And maybe they should do it for all the playoffs, not just. Right. I mean, there has been
ref out there. Get another back judge, another line judge, whatever. Right.
There has been some bad calls this whole playoff, right? Hasn't there been some kind of weird calls in the playoffs? This wasn't the only one that was bad. I mean, the pass interference one. I mean, the guy's head literally, turned around like the Exorcist.
Well, look at what was it? I think it was also 2018, right? When which was the egregious call against the Saints.
Oh,
pass interference. That was tackled when the ball wasn't even 10 feet long.
Yes.
So, and that started that, and that created, they said, okay, well, you can now, challenge
PI.
Right. Which
is now gone away.
Well, because it started getting insane, and like you could find it almost on every play. They allowed them to put their hands on each other, and that was, I think it was Kevin that said, like, you're like, well, the guy's hand was on his back. You can have your hand on his back. You just can't pull the jersey, and you see that little, kind of wrap. That's sort of just a given. You can't bump at the line anymore. You can't hold receiver. Like, what are you supposed to do? I mean, the quarterbacks are so accurate these days. I mean, all they need is 3 feet of separation.
And you can't touch them. So.
Right. Yep. God forbid you lay a hand on a quarterback. Yeah, exactly. All right. What do we got? Anything else on the
just one last thing that kind of close out. The other big thing in sports going on right now is obviously the Olympics, right? Looking at the medal count overall, the U.S. We are in 4th place in overall medals, but 3rd in number of gold. We've got 21 overall, 8 gold, 8 silver, 5 bronze. But the other big story, the biggest story coming out is the.
That's bizarre.
I know.
We're always the number one in one of those 2.
Yeah, Norway's kind of crushing the pack in terms of. I mean, again, Winter Olympics. They a lot of snow, a lot of mountains, and that sort of thing. But they have 29 overall. The ROC, not Jay-Z's record label, Rockefeller Records, but the Russian Olympic Committee, or whatever they're called. They
is that what their team is called?
Yeah, because they can't compete in the Olympics under the name Russia because they were
cheaters.
They had sanctions put on them, but they're still allowed to perform somehow. And lo and behold, there's another scandal. Right, we have the doping scandal involving a 15-year-old figure skater. I don't know how much fault you can put on her for any of this. I would imagine as a 14, 15-year-old girl in Russia, if they're telling you to do something, you probably kind of have to do it in this situation, right? So that's going on. A couple hours ago, though, she did fail to win gold. She upset as she did fall a couple times in the final event and finished in 4th place. And another Russian girl took the gold. But again, the biggest thing coming out of that is the fact that, there's another doping allegation scandal going on with the Russian Olympic Committee. It'll be interesting to see what, if anything, comes out of this in terms of further sanctions. Are they going to be able to compete moving forward?
They'll just change their name again. It's like those, Oriental rug sale places.
Yeah,
those businesses that sell like the Oriental. I think they're still called that. And
or they could,
they go out of business. Going out of business, like you just opened 4 days ago.
Yeah,
or they could start a war, and everyone will be paying attention to that, and not to what's going on. Yeah, right. I mean, let's be honest, right?
All right,
that's it. That's all I got. That's the roundup there.
All right, what do we got? What's next?
Next up is you, Kev. You get your we're going to the mailbag. You have the mail.
Yeah, I got the mail.
Mailbag.
So last week we had a great guest. Kevin was awesome, former strength and conditioning coach of the most recently the Miami Marlins, but I believe he was with 3 affiliate teams, and very passionate about his career and his feelings on injuries and why they're there. And
yes, feelings.
Yes, a couple of people listened, thought it was great. But we actually had a former guest, Dr. Ed Campbell, who was on the show earlier this past year, is a retired chiropractor in the NorCal area. And he's very involved in social media and very, just an inquisitive guy. So Kevin had talked about, baseball looking for, help and keeping injuries and, turning to other sports. And Kevin was, against it. And I don't think he was against it for, so Ed sent out that the Rams, our Super Bowl champion Rams, took ideas from the Premier League soccer to prevent injuries. And there's an article on insider.com about it. And the article I read really they staticized it. These guys are, especially their head coach there, is really into numbers. They literally had a workload metric of how much these guys were running, hitting. And when it got to a certain point, they stopped and they rested. And I guess, they took essentially their safety there. Was it the guy he was on his couch, right? They brought him in he played.
Eric Weddle.
I know Weddle. I think he actually tore a pec in the Super Bowl game, right?
Yeah.
But all their guys played 80, so Stafford, Kupp, Donald, Ramsey played over 80% of the snaps without missing any games. So I said, okay. So I responded to him and I said, I don't think it's the other ideas, and you guys can comment. It's that baseball doesn't get any results, right? The results again are poor, and those getting poor results get the praise. So if you hire a painter and to paint your house and you come home and it's half painted and there's paint all over the window, you're going to be pretty peed off, right? But it seems that the guys getting the most praise, have the worst results by far.
Here's what I think. I think number one, we're making an assumption that their goal is to stay healthy, and I'm not sure that that's the goal.
Well, he actually talked about that because
right.
You did mention that. Yep.
Yeah. So I think that there is, and I know I mentioned this before, but I think there is some sense of, look, it's a business at the end of the day, as we talked about on the top of the order. It's a business. And, if there's a scale and, if you're adding velocity as a pitcher and it's increasing your chance of injury, that's something that they have to weigh. If if they're good, if their performance, if something's going to help their performance in their minds, whether it's there or not, that's going to help their performance, but it increases their chance of injury, it may be worth the risk. They may say, hey, look, if we can get 2 seasons of 15 wins out of this guy, and then we lose an injury after that, they factor that into their budget, into their finances. I think that's real. And I think that I think what we're trying to talk about, what everyone would love to see, I know what we'd love to see is like a happy marriage of the two, sure. Right? Because you should be able to perform at your peak without running the risk of injury every time you go out and pick up a ball to throw it, right? So what's the one thing that's missing, at least for pitching, is the arm path,
Mhm.
what the body's doing, right? So
Talked about a million times. Yeah.
yeah. So I just don't know. And so I say that because I don't see the focus on throwing mechanics, right? I don't
Mhm.
see it. And there may be teams doing it. I don't know, but I don't see it. We don't see it. We don't hear about it much. It's certainly not
the results aren't there. So yeah.
right. But the results are there of more guys throwing 100 miles an hour than ever before.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yep. So, but at a pretty great cost, as we're saying, we certainly don't see it on social media. I mean, the people who are, all the gurus on social media certainly don't talk about, corrective arm path and throwing healthfully. They just say throw this way to throw harder, faster. Right. Yep. So that's my take. And then one other thing I'll add, Kevin, I don't know about your take on this. There seems to be no SOP. There's no standard operational procedure for these teams. It's like a mixed bag.
Yeah. So it's funny you said that because I, of course I responded to him and said, again, it's about results. There are teams that have have more injuries than the AFC East and they're glorified. But he came up with a good point. We're talking about arm path and pitchers, and people tend to forget that, Major League Baseball is a business, meaning that there's laws, OSHA. It's a workplace. There's work, right. Obviously in the NFL, we're finding out about the sexual harassment part of the workplace, right? With my commanders and everybody else, but it's a workplace, and there are standards that, is this trend to throw 200 miles an hour, 15 years from now, people are going to wait and be like, wait a minute, you gave me all of this bad advice and I blew out my arm. I couldn't pitch again, or I blew out my arm right before I got to arbitration, right? Because that's what's happening. And I could have made, $500 million. Is there going to be class action suits? Is OSHA going to get involved? OSHA, for those who don't know, is like, the national, essentially workplace safety that has rules. What it seems it's, if you had a factory, like, well, just you had a factory, small factory, you had 40 employees, or let's just, you had 40 employees, and every year 15 to 20 of those employees are going out on workers' compensation. Someone's knocking at your door.
Yeah.
Right. Either your insurance company is going to be like, yeah, dude, we can't, or OSHA is going to be like, what is happening that you're having, 20% of your workforce miss all of this time every single year. But in sports, that doesn't seem to be happening. And then, we have to look at why baseball has so many injuries, a lot of them catastrophic, compared to other sports. Obviously we saw a classic example of someone moving incorrectly, and Odell Beckham Jr., and I'm sure he will admit that, did this stop kind of on a half-foot knee way over his toe, and boom, his ACL went, right? Just like Julian Edelman did the same thing. And he, in the show, he said, yeah, I took a chance and it was a bad move. We know that there is a direct cause between moving poorly and injury. And I just don't see why that's not fixed in baseball, or why they're not getting it right.
Yeah, it's hard to explain. Look, there's so many things, baseball, obviously they perform more frequently than any other sport, right? They're playing every day for the most part. There's an opposite side to that where it's not basketball. You're not just flying up and down the court, making sharp cuts all the time, etc. But in terms of wear and tear, there's a lot, but that's why, in my opinion, there should be even more emphasis on this sort of thing. And maybe this is a question for Kevin Barr, and we have him back on. So we are going to have him back on. Are there frequent, like assessments on athletes, to see where they are, to try to, catch things before they happen? I don't know that that's happened. If it's not, I think it should. But that seems to be like a pretty simple thing. And lots of, occupations, part of the job is that, you get checked every so often to make sure that whatever it is, if you're working with hazard materials or whatever, and mining, to make, try to prevent things before they kind of bite you. So I don't know. I think that, again, it comes back to investment for me. That they're I hate to say it, but it's sort of like they're commodities. Like, this is a guy. I'm buying 15 wins. I'm buying 30 home runs. This is what we're buying, and that 30 home runs is gonna help score X amount of runs per year, whatever. And that's how they look at it. And I don't think that they really factor in that longevity, unfortunately.
That's a great point. There should be a standard operating procedure. Like, we know, like, talking about arm path, we know that these 4 arm paths are legitimately dangerous.
Right.
If you choose to use them, that's on you. But, on the flip side of it, in the rehab side, in the consumer, dude, I don't know how many people will go around and suffer with arm pain for years. Right. I mean, so I had my college reunion a couple years ago, and I had a buddy whose kid pitched at a D1 school. He pitched to Villanova, I think it was, or Seton Hall, one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
And the coach literally told him, "Yeah, you should have arm pain every time you. That's normal."
Yeah.
He's like, and I said to Keith, no, you should not. But I'll run into people. How long have you had pain for? 3 years. Okay. What have you been doing about it? The same thing. How long have you had arm pain for? 18 months. What have you been doing about it? The same thing. Like, if you do the same thing over and over again, I think Einstein called that insanity. People will not make a change.
Right.
People will lose their career, lose their scholarship, because they will not look over here, because they're either going to a celebrity trainer.
That's what it is.
Or I'm at such and such facility. Okay.
Yep.
You have arm pain. If you had a headache and you took Tylenol and the headache didn't go away, you'd keep, like, what would you keep? Oh yeah, the headache's. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me, and it just seems like it's only baseball.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Well, yeah, that's it. It's like, Tylenol. It's a good example. I think, just to kind of finish that point for you, right? It's like, continue to take Tylenol, and someone says, "Hey, you should try Advil. Ibuprofen's a little bit better," and they go, "Well, no, because it says right on the bottle, Tylenol helps headaches." Right. And so that's what you're right.
It does say that.
Right. And it's a good analogy. And, and I can tell you right now, and there's a person in mind that you and I both know, that's in that situation where, throwing with pain, and, they gravitate towards, the what they think is the clout, right? So, oh, this guy worked with an MLB team, or this guy works with an MLB team, and this guy, and they hyper focus on that. And by the way, those guys maybe they could have fixed you for this situation. It's not working for you, and you have to look outside. Absolutely. And it's huge. And by the way, one last thing.
Yeah.
A person, not that one, another person I'm bringing you, said that very thing. Last night, I'm talking to him again, and I said, "Hey, we're going to set you up and either go Thursday or Friday to see Kevin, etc." And I forget how we got there, but he was like, well, that was when I just threw, like, so that was like, that's normal pain, right? And I'm like, dude, and this is the kid I had in my program. I taught him this. Like,
I was in the room.
Ryan knows.
I looked at him,
normal pain.
What? Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So let me just so let's, for the parents and players out there.
Oh, and that's because his pitching coach, his collegiate pitching coach, told him about normal pain. So
yeah, so there's no such thing as normal pain. Okay, pain is a 4-letter word. Like, okay, it's bad. So here is what should happen. So Mike, you're going to be the catcher. Ryan, we're going to put you in center field. I'm going to pitch. Okay. So right now we're going to leave and we're going to pitch. I'm going to throw 95 pitches in 6 innings. Okay. I'm going to come off the mound at, 3:00, and, maybe I'll ice, maybe I don't necessarily have to. I'm going to do some exercises and then let my arm calm down. And then at 8:00, we're going to go play in our wiffle ball tournament that we have at your house or at your facility. I should be able to throw lightly wiffle balls hours after throwing. Okay. So my elbow shouldn't be swollen or sore. Might be a little, like I did something. A
little tight.
Yeah. My shoulder. Okay. Here's what should be sore: my rear end, my hamstrings, my groin, my lower back, my shoulder blade muscles. Okay. Those should be like I just had a workout. Fast forward the next day, I wake up again. My arm might be a little bit Yeah, I did something. Again, hamstrings, groin, quads, back, big muscles. Okay. If I wake up and I can't straighten my arm or my shoulder's killing me, I am injured 100%. Okay. These guys are pounding pills. They're pounding, and this, I can guarantee if we look back during the steroid era, okay, everyone's talking about Bonds and, there had to be pitchers on this because the injuries were much less. And this is what steroids does. It repairs you. But you shouldn't, there's no such thing as if you throw a ball and it hurts your elbow, you are hurt. It's just a matter of time before your ligaments in two pieces. You should not throw a baseball that it hurts. Okay. No one's throwing footballs that it hurts. No one's hitting. It just shouldn't hurt. If it hurts when you throw, you are hurt.
Right. And by the way, a lot of times that hurt is because of the way that you throw. Okay. Most often it's the way that you throw.
In my opinion, most, if not all, it's the way that you throw. The sequence of what you do.
Right. And it's amazing because, this player we're talking about in question, not only did his arm hurt, but he's not sore in the glutes. He's not sore in the hamstrings. He's not sore in the lower back. So, I went through this.
And that tells me that you're using the small muscles and not correct. The big ones.
Yeah. And when you see him throw, you'll see why. And it was something that I battled with him for a couple of years and got him to a pretty good place, but he went right back to it as soon as he left. But yeah, I'll say it again. It's arm path, and not just the arm path. And I shouldn't say just arm. It's
sequence.
It's the sequence, right? The sequence of movement, just like we talk about with a swing, right? To swing efficiently, to swing with the strong muscles of the body, let the hands be the steering wheel, etc. It's the same thing with the throw. And I hate to keep harping on it because I know it's redundant, but why baseball isn't talking about looking at other sports to help them, looking at quarterbacks and how they throw.
How many in a football practice week, in a normal week, how many times does a quarterback throw a football?
I know.
Right?
That's what I'm saying. Like they have
1,000,
and the arm is moving last, not first,
and it's not back here. It's
right.
It's in with the body as they
right.
move,
and it's the whole body throwing off their front foot, not. Every time something's short, where they say, "Oh, he threw off his back foot," right? So not dragging our back leg, we're not doing anything stupid.
You're dragging the arm, right? I
know
there's no such thing as arm lag. But
I can guarantee you, Serena Williams in her heyday had to have served 100 to 200 times a day in practice. Had to, just sat there and hit serves. Had to,
easy.
She didn't need 5 days off. Right.
Okay. And that's just serves. That's
just serves. Right. Yeah. Holding on to a racket, which is much heavier than a baseball. But again, the sequence of it being the last thing coming with gravity is the racket. And I just see it. And it's just, we're going to beat ourselves. We're going to beat our heads against the wall. And so we come up with a pitching avatar. We've been talking about this. Say, look, this is why you should do this.
It's probably going to look a lot like a quarterback.
And again, yeah, right. Again, and it's funny. I have, everything's about study. So I just had a guy in who I've been treating and, did that skiing thing and blew out his ACL. Poor guy, right? Blew his ACL out. So he's been looking at, I just told him, look, allograft. I've had it, not the allograft. You don't want patella tendon, you don't want hamstring, get the dead body graft. So there's no disruption of anything else. Well, I've been doing studies and all the studies says this. And I'm like, look, you're in biotech. What's the one piece of this study that they haven't talked about? The one piece that would make whatever graph you have better than next. He's like, well, your piece. Right. Because we can make any study look like it is if we leave out and don't, obviously,
sure.
If you have 10-cent rehab, your knee isn't going to be good no matter what graph you have in there, right? So when they talk about doing all this stuff, the pitching and this, if you're not focusing on the mechanics, nothing else, man, and the sequence and the foundational movements and what kind of corrective exercise. And if I see, it's just, if I see these stupid freaking people doing this and not doing anything about their core one more time, I'm going to go nuts. I literally am.
It's an easy example too. Like, if you let's say you own a truck, and you continually try to take off in fifth gear, right? your truck's gonna The truck's going to either not go, okay,
Yeah.
or you're going to drop your tranny.
Right.
It's going to give. And so, it's the same thing. There has to be.
That, Michael, is fantastic.
That's so funny.
That is so good.
I bought, so when I was, like 19 or 20, I traded my car in. This was when gas first hit $2 a gallon. I had a V8 Ford Explorer.
Whoa.
Gas hit $2 a gallon. I was like, I can't, this is insane. I can't do this. So I traded it in for like a small little Honda Civic out in Auburn at a dealership out in Auburn. Went out there, bought it, never drove stick in my life before. And I was like, yep, I want that. Drove it home. I didn't stall until I got home to Framingham. But when I got on the highway, I was like, rah, rah, rah. I was going like, no lie, like 22 miles an hour in fifth gear. Like, why aren't I going faster? This is how you're supposed to do this. No idea.
That's
it's
amazing.
the same, Michael. And that's it. Like, you can't. There's a sequence. The body's a machine, right? The lawnmower is a machine. There is a sequence of movements that have to be. And if you put the cart before the horse, it is. But it's amazing how nobody. It's just like, yeah, I throw with pain, my arm hurt, but I'm still going to here. I'm still going here. But dude, you're missing your season. Yeah, but these guys are great.
And what's amazing is
these painters are great. Can't you see they painted my window?
It's such a results-driven sport. Is results-driven. It's results-driven.
And analytics. What's your analytics? 0. I'm not playing.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. So why isn't that taken off the field? Right. So you should be driven by results. Right. And again, like we talked about earlier, I think that's, that is why we see like, I'm buying X amount of wins or whatever. But when it comes to the individual, the player, getting themselves healthy, just, don't have the tunnel vision. If there's something that's not working for you, you should not be in pain, period. Something's off. The person that you're going to is either looking at one thing. By the way, that's another thing, right? If you go like my elbow hurts, you go to an elbow doctor. Elbow doctor is going to look at your elbow and only your elbow and go, your elbow is X, Y, and Z. It's a torn this, it's this. He's not going to look at, well, let's see how you're throwing. Oh, that's why. He's not going to say why. He's just going to say it's broken and this is what it's going to have to take to fix it. Right. So there's get back to the root of it, right? Figure out how to fix it. Not just repair it.
So, not to toot my own horn, but I had a so I had a client before we got on the air, and he's got some shoulder impingements and like he's been to other places and hasn't gotten fixed. So looked at him like, all right, so we're gonna do Supermans and glute squeezes. I was like, huh? I'm like, dude, just trust me, because he's got this like lame lat, which is connected to the shoulder blade and the pelvis. Some Supermans and some glute squeezes later, he's like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, right. The whole body. You can't just look like this. And this is what drives me nuts about orthopedic surgeons and doctors. And even I've been to courses, I went to a sports medicine course. Thank God it was in Vegas, where they're talking about the shoulder and the entire course, never mentioning the shoulder blade and its articulation with the spine. Like, hello. The shoulders, it's swimming in your back. If that's not right, nothing's right. It's just and now even orthopedic surgeons, if 15 years ago, Dr. Bob would do the shoulder, the knee. Now, no. Each practice says no. Dr. Mike only does knees. Dr. Phil only does elbows. Like, it's even more specialized. They're definitely not looking at the whole body.
Absolutely. Well, and I need to something you told me a long time. Doctors do two things: they medicate and they operate. Right? They will fix the broken part. They will repair the broken part, but then they may not fix the problem. Probably not going to fix the problem. They're not
or
going
the
to
cause.
fix the root of the
cause.
Right. That's sort of what I meant. Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Oh,
is it?
Why would you do that?
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
I beeped it out. I beeped it.
No, we did.
It's a kid-friendly show. It's a family-friendly show. I went.
He mouthed it.
I mouthed.
It was mouthed.
So
all right, Ryan. What do you got? I can't even watch this.
Well,
Well,
so I'm gonna say that one for the end because that one.
Save that one for the end.
Okay.
I saw that one.
This one's actually like a functional thing that we're going to pick apart a little bit.
And make sure you describe it for those people who are listening.
I will, yeah, and I'm gonna let Mike lead the way in terms of talking about the why we wouldn't do that, right?
All
and then
right.
the second one we'll have a little fun with.
All right.
I
So let's adjust this here so we can see what
What's
we're
it
looking
say?
at.
Something direction? New drill
New
direction.
drill.
New drill.
We got some,
hold
we
on.
got some
New
sirens
drill.
there.
Wow.
Ryan, how many views did this have? And when you just went on there?
So this was posted 3 days ago.
3 days ago.
And it has almost 4,000 likes or views on it. Excuse me. 4,000 views in 3 days. Okay,
4,000.
So, and
Identical.
Now,
while
so one thing, and I had some time on my hands this weekend and started to look. There's some physical therapists out there who have these pages, and they're doing exercises. I'm like, dude, no normal human being coming to your practice can do these, right? But 5,000, 6,000 followers, and the comments, right, in Instagram, and I'm looking, no one's got a real name, right? It's all like did that. So I click on them.
Did that?
These accounts are fake, right? So we've got to be very careful when you see followers. There are companies, there are bots, I guess.
You can buy likes.
You can buy likes, you can buy
stuff.
bots.
Yeah.
I've been delving in because I'm like, what is this? But so this might be one of those.
It could very well could be. I mean, the account itself has
That's usually followers. That's usually followers, not likes.
Yeah.
They only have 4,300 followers.
Okay.
New drill alert, right?
Yep.
Maintaining good direction by training your quote unquote impact points. Okay. So let's take a look at this and then I'll read through the caption a little bit. Okay. So for those that aren't watching, what you're seeing, we have a guy in the right-hander's batter's box, no bat in his hand. He's being thrown a 4-pound medicine ball, weighted ball.
Mini ball, yeah.
Mini ball, right. And he is being instructed to catch it at the quote unquote impact point.
Oh, and is he
is
he taught? Actually, if you run it, if you turn the sound, I think we can hear it because I think I changed the settings. You might be able to hear it.
Let's try that. Yay or nay?
Hold on. No, but hold on. I can fix that. Hold on. Keep going. Keep talking. I'll see if I can fix it.
We'll try this.
Yeah, bring it back to the beginning too, since
Yeah. I thought I fixed it last time, Mike. Didn't I? So we can.
You did for yours, but I don't know that it would work for his. I don't know. Is your volume up, guys? Because you're back on mute.
It was. And I just had to mute it again because it was way too loud in my ear.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. We don't need the sound anyway because so as Ryan explained, there's a hitter in the batter's box, with no, and he's catching this mini med ball, and I'm assuming the drill. And Ryan, I know that this drill because Ryan told me that they're working on palm up and palm down at quote unquote impact point, which I've never heard it called that way, but
like meteor like impact.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. Like, I mean, I don't know what it's contact point. So now there's several issues with this. And again, this is drills for sake of doing drills. And like, I don't know, like feeling like this, like ingenuity. I don't know why this should be worked on with a bat and a baseball on a tee. That's it. Because what's happening is this batter, this hitter, he knows in his mind, I've got to get palm up, palm and catch this ball. And it's destroying his sequencing, his back foot. Okay. He's on the outside of his, can you pause that right there, Ryan? So he's on the outside of his back foot. It's, you don't want that. You want the weight on the inside of the arch side of your foot. His hips aren't turned all the way. And for those that are only listening, his back elbow is once again trapped under his top hand. So if this were a pitch and he were hitting anything in or half, he's going to feel like he's going to be hitting it off near his thumbs. He's going to get sawed off, which is going to do a bunch of things, to a couple different things. It could make him back off the plate so that he feel like he can actually get his barrel to the inside pitch, which makes him susceptible now to outside pitches, right? Or he starts hitting the inside pitch way out in front, because that's the only way he can get his barrel there and hooking them foul or getting those buzzing top spin ground balls to third base. It just causes a lot of problems. And so it's not.
And that outside pitch is just going to be a weak pop up to the first baseman.
Well, he won't even be able to hit it if he's off the plate.
So Ryan, keep that frozen there.
So, and the last thing I'll say is that, it's not this. We just talked about sequencing, right? And it's like, instead of this, okay, and I understand that they're trying to solve a problem, okay, that maybe he's rolling his wrist and he's not getting palm up, palm down, but you're creating other issues, and you're not solving. He's only doing the drill. He's doing this for the drill. It doesn't necessarily mean he's going to translate this into his swing anyway. Instead, put your hitter on a tee. Put your hitter in the batter's box, put a ball on the tee, and go slow motion if you have to. Right? Do it in slow motion so you can perform it and then gradually pick up speed.
So I just tweeted out today that, one of the things I do to perfect movement or improve movement is visualize, trying to get the athlete to visualize that every movement in the sequence is one frame of a high-speed camera. And each frame has to be an athletic move. This would not be a frame that we would use. We'd have to get rid of this frame because, and my definition of an athletic move is that without another preparatory movement, at the snap of a finger, he can make another move, whether that's the caught move, kick someone in the face, whatever. But if you look at that back leg, that's in trouble. That right leg is caved in over the medial condyle, and the foot wants to explode out on the pinky side. The left leg is straight, and that you wouldn't. I mean, if you just cut him in half, that lower half is certainly not any sort of athletic position that anyone would teach.
So, Ryan, could you go and we're going to show one more thing too, that just why drills can have such negative effect. Ryan, remember that swing, the one that you were looking for? Well, I call it a swing. He's performing the swing where it's a way out in front and what it does.
No.
Just play it forward. Play it forward. You were looking for, remember earlier you were saying, hey, watch this front side on this.
Oh, in this. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Look at that. Oh, my goodness.
Do that again.
So you're talking about right here. This is one of them.
Look at freeze there. Okay.
That right elbow is so far under and forward. It's disgusting.
And his hands aren't even aligned.
And he's shrugging with the left side and the back leg. I mean, it's like anchored.
And perfect example. So great. You got palm up, palm down. Everything else is wrong. Everything. Okay. So you're not helping. All right. So the one I was talking about, Ryan, as you said, remember it was out front. He almost falls over.
I think it's two more swings. I think it's not this one.
Yep. Just let it play through. This when you see it, we'll freeze it at the end of it. Freeze. Okay. So now see, this is what this drill's creating. More bad habits. So now he's palm up, palm down, way past the point he should be palm up, palm down. Once we get through extension, the ball's gone, the arms are extended all the way. That's when it's time to either the top hand comes off, finish the swing, or you can actually turn your wrist. Shouldn't roll all the way over, but you should get a turn at that point. And if you press the play, you're going to see he's going to fall towards third base. Boop.
Crazy.
There he is. So again, drills for the sake of drills, they have to make sense, and they have to be a part of a swing, in my opinion. They have to be a part of the swing, or part of a throw, part of a if you're fielding, working on fielding mechanics, right? All those things, they have to, like, if you're working on hands when you're doing the fielding mechanics, you should be in proper fielding position. Your hips should be back, your butt should down, your feet are wider than your shoulders, your back should be flat, your chest is the ground, your gloves out in front of your glove side eye. Boom. Now that you're there, good. Start the drill. But it's all good. It should all be properly done. That's all I have to say about that.
And I'll just read the quick caption too. What he says is your body has to be facing the direction you want to hit the baseball. There's two highways that will affect the hitter's direction: north and south, which sets the barrel early. The lower you go, the harder it is to hit the high pitch. East and west, trunk and pelvic rotation. On outside pitches, you will rotate your trunk pelvis less. Again, these are just like words for the sake of words.
And no, you won't. You won't. It may be it may not be fully rotated at contact. You're not rotating any less. So, but whatever. It's just silly. All right, let's go on to the next one.
Please don't.
Horse.
Please don't.
This is great.
You gotta describe this.
For those that, and I'll start this over because it's just preposterous. For those who aren't watching, we have two catchers. Okay, they're in their full catching gear, which for those who aren't fully aware, face mask, chest protector, shin guards, right? They are on diving boards, like springboards for like an Olympic pool. Okay. They are in the block position. So they're on two knees, hands up in front, basically receiving a blocked ball in the dirt. And from here, what they are now doing is getting up, throwing their masks, and then swimming.
Diving into the pool.
Inexplicably for, I don't know, 100 meters, whatever that is, right? Getting out of the pool, full gear still on, and popping up with an actual baseball ready to throw.
Exactly. The silence says it all.
Right?
I don't even know what to say about it.
Some of the quotes are like, hey, congrats, you ruined catcher's gear, but at least the catcher can be ready to hold his breath and paddle his arms at game time.
It's just insane. And again,
I like how he gets out of the pool like a Navy SEAL. We're the best.
Just
so one guy's like, whoever wins gets to DH both games.
And the name of consistency of like trying to find the reason, right? So I guess what? Stamina. I want to see like block a ball and have the stamina pop up. I don't know. I'm at a loss at this one. I'm hoping that somewhere along the line we find out that this is just a joke. Some coach just was goofing around, and maybe that's what it is. Hopefully, because and the sad part is, I wouldn't be shocked if this were a real drill and that some coach had them do this. It just it's everyone's got to be so different. Like we're not trying to cure cancer here, folks. We're trying to teach baseball. Are you ready
for something? And I am hoping that this is posted in jest, right? Because this is on an account that has a good chunk of followers, I think. Are you guys ready for when this was posted and how many views there are?
Go for it.
I would like you to guess at both of those numbers. When was this posted? How long ago?
2 years ago.
Kev?
Within a week.
15 hours ago.
What?
Okay, there you go.
How many views does this have?
Oh God, thousands.
5,000.
44,302 views.
Okay, but that could be for the reason that we're doing it. That could be for like, guys, you have to see this. This is the dumbest thing we've ever seen in my life.
And trying to figure out what the hell is actually going on.
Because you have to say nobody's taking this and going, oh, we got to do that. We got to do this.
No, that's almost 3,000 views an hour.
Find us an Olympic pool so we can host a practice.
This is like insane, literally insane.
Yeah.
But I do love how a lot of the people are
by the way,
commenting on this. You do understand, like people in baseball always doing some drill that has no benefit.
Yes, bingo. Right? Now watch this. We'll let it run one more time. This is interesting. So the kid that actually wins. Look at the guy in the far. The kid that loses actually has decent swimming form. Look at this. The one that wins, like he's like flailing.
I don't think he has decent swimming form. He is throwing his arms as fast as humanly possible with no control, no full like.
No. In the front, the one that loses. Watch
right here. Look at him. Look how fast he's trying to go, but he's actually not kicking his legs, not doing anything.
That's how you're supposed to swim. The other one looks like he's literally, as I say, the whole idea of like swimming as a sport. Die. You're basically just You're surviving in water.
It is insane.
There's an old Seinfeld bit where he's talking about swimming is just basically you're in the water and saying don't die. That's it. Don't die. Don't die. Don't die.
That's true. All right.
I think that's a good way to wrap that show up because that is simply ridiculous. Preposterous. I love that word. By the way, the account that posted that has 227,000 followers. Hey, oddly enough, they're actually located out of Worcester. I got to do some more research on this place.
Come on. Oh, we need.
But they're just down the road from us. Yeah.
We need to call them up and ask. Literally,
it's not a facility. It's just like a brand that they're doing.
That person needs to be on our podcast, and I'm asking, why are you doing Michael Phelps' work as a catcher?
Yeah.
I'm guessing that was for a goof. I'm really hoping it was.
We better hope so.
I'm going to go on record and say that was. But
Oh man. Well, good show, fellas.
Good yeah.
So guys, please subscribe to our channel on our YouTube. Question.
Hey, as the kids say, right? If you watch these videos, I know Mike has kids who watch. Smash that like button.
Smash it.
Okay. Smash it.
And after you're done smashing it, you can email the show at info@proveitlive.com, or you can visit our website at proveitlive.com.